Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the podcast. I'm very excited for this one. I'm your co-host, M. Dave, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Rio, Tom Brady, and returning guest, King Jr., aka Burrito Voorhees, and also returning guest, Wound Cowboy. Tom,
There
did
we
I pronounce
go.
it right, brother?
Proud of you.
Welcome, guys. Welcome.
I had
Thank
to
you.
get on him
Thank you.
again. He called you wound again tonight. I had to get on him again, man. I was like, wow.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
I think I'm learning. So tonight's or whatever the mornings or whenever you're watching this for that matter is the tier list edition of the podcast. We will save
Yeah, it's going to be a juicy one because we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk
that's
about.
right. We will save the We Play Dragon Temple tournament discussion for another time. It is happening this weekend. We're recording at the same time. Both groups A and B are currently finished. We will talk about the players and the results as soon as they're done. So they're going to do the top 8 tomorrow. We'll discuss that another time. But for right now, we want to discuss the Rios. We're going to just go by Rios because he is kind of like it is his tier list. It is his YouTube channel. He is the focus. So we want to go by off his tier list. So he's going to do a lot of the talking this time. And we're going to comment about his tier list, what we disagree with, what we like. So Rio, the floor is yours.
Yeah, okay, so I have this tier list here. And just to clarify, if you guys want to talk about someone else's tier list, we can also do that after this one. But right now, Dave wants to go over mine. So I have 6 different tiers, right? At the top, I'm calling it the best tier because these characters, it could be S for you, it could be A, whatever you prefer. It could be whatever you want. But I have it named as the best. And up here, I have 5 characters who I feel are the best. Jackie, Liu Kang, Cetron, Joker, Fujin. I think all of these characters are overall the best. I think, in theory, they have the least amount of losing matchups. And potentially, they're the strongest characters in the game. That's why I have them placed the highest. What do you guys think about that? On the characters placed in this tier.
Is it ordered?
It's not ordered.
Rio, I
But-
think it's fair to say yes and no. Rio and I kind of went over this.
Yeah,
a little
yes
bit.
and no, because in my opinion, I think Fujin overall the best, but Dave was like, you can't put Fujin first because then people will be like, how's he the best if there's no Fujin's winning tournaments, and then it would cause a kind of argument.
That's right.
Anyway, the point isn't really to say Jackie's straight up better than Fujin or Liu Kang straight up better than Cetron. The point is more of, I feel like these characters are the best overall. Like if there's any tier that's the highest, these 5 would be in it.
Yeah, like
Right,
how
so
about
you're
this?
just placing them like in the tier they belong, not necessarily order
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah, it's not. Don't focus
Okay,
so
that's
much on the
fair.
order necessarily. It's more about, do you agree that these are like,
Yeah.
the most
Yeah,
top
I don't
tier
think that's
characters?
controversial at all. Yeah.
Well, how about this?
Yeah, I think those.
But in
Any-
my
characters are
honest
top
opinion,
5.
I do think Fujin overall would be theoretically the best in the
No,
game. Like
fair-
if someone were to master
Rio,
him.
fair enough, but let's ask the other folks like this. Any disagreements, first of all, or anybody you would remove or you would add, that kind of stuff. Anybody?
I don't.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's a good top 5.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I think there's some that it's just really close. Like you could argue. Some would say Kano now might be up there. I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, I have no problem with that as top 5.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only characters you could add, if you were to add anybody else, would be Kodal, Sub, and Kano, and Collector. But I know that's like 9 characters total at that point, so it's just up to the tier list maker at that point if they want to do that or not.
Well, Rio, how about so you have the
What about you, Tom?
yeah, Tom.
Yeah, I can see those being the best characters in the game. I mean, I don't really have any issue with that list with their tier 1.
Yeah, I also want to talk characters in depth, like each of them. Like I'm sure you guys already know Jackie's game plan. With the
Oh
lead.
yeah.
And she's basically like how Jackie was before, pre-patch, but now the custom move that they're usually making is they have Leap, the air shrapnel cancel, and then they have the goo move, which puts damage over time, and they're equipping that.
Yeah.
And now that kind of acts like her air shrapnel before, but it's better because it's also a projectile. So if you're under her, it doesn't matter how high she is, you're going to have to block that projectile coming down, which essentially makes her offense better. Because it's safer for her to drop down now and then go for offense. She also has a great throw. Her back throw leads to strike throws because it, leaves them close, and her offense is really good with her fast mids, 4-3-2. And overall, yeah, she's got good mobility. Her dash punch is a decent Punisher. Her back two isn't that bad in footsies. She's just straight up top tier. And then of course Liu Kang, who's been another character that's been good since day one of this game. Every version Liu Kang has been a monster. He's got nerfed a bit, but when I look at the characters up here, it's kind of like the rich got richer because all of these characters have a common theme. Like Jackie, Liu Kang, Cetron, Joker, Fujin. They're all using something similar to what they had before that made them top tier, similar loadouts. But now they're kind of adding a move to further complement how good they already were. Like for example, Liu Kang is keeping low fireball, and now he's equipping his command throw. So not only does he have his added neutral and zoning with his low fireball, but now he's also better up close because now you have to guess. Is he going to go for his command throw? Is he going to hit you with back one? Is he going to do back one ticked into his command throw? Is he going to do forward four? You know, is he going to try to pressure with 1-2?
I think
that's,
that's like a common theme with the top tier is the fact that they usually had like one use of special move in one of their tournament variations, but they now have the opportunity to replace that one use of special move with something much more powerful, like a Liu Kang command throw. Or now the fact that with Jackie, your dash punch is not safe, but at that range, you can use a grenade launcher, which is actually, the dot projectile. That's what it's called in the in-game move. So you get to, get to use that in that range instead. So, and kind of like the same thing with Cetron. You still have that one tournament variation that's super strong with the guys in the teleport, but you also get to have was it the tornado, the ground pound, it's kind of like you said, like these characters kind of got better in some sense.
Yeah, the rich got richer.
And it's kind of like the same thing with Joker, and it's the same thing with Fujin, really. I mean, I don't, if you want to talk about those two in detail as well.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's no surprise. All these top characters up here were good before. They just got better because now you can make a better custom loadout overall. But yeah, like you said, Jackie has like some zoning now with her goo move. She's good at closing out rounds now with it too. We just talked about Liu Kang. Cetron is kind of not as, strike throw heavy mix up as the other two characters, but she does have good offense, but she can zone you with her normals. She's got very good neutral, very good footsies. A lot of characters kind of have an issue dealing with her wall of attacks because they have to usually approach her because it's easier for her to chip a lot of characters and make them want to come to her so then she can play her game better. And now they're using Tornado, Earthquake, and Teleport. That's probably the most popular loadout that they're using right now. Earthquake is good because it's like a quick move that you use and it hits anywhere on the screen and she can cancel it. It gives her some fuzzy ball mix-up on her strings that you have to watch out for. It's good for going under projectiles, so if someone throws a high fireball, she could read it, ground pound you, and then get the life lead. Her teleport's amazing because it makes her hard to corner.
Also some mid fireballs. Like that ground pound also goes underneath.
Yeah, it also low profile some mid fireballs too, which makes it even better.
Like Robocop's low auto. I mean, I have to mention that.
Damn, I didn't even know it went under that one.
Yeah, it actually does.
That's unfortunate.
Because the hitbox is so high, at least, high meaning it's too high for the move, not that the fact the move hits high. Because
it hits mid, but it doesn't hit her in her crouch animation.
Profile, it is very, very difficult to deal with because you kind of have to get in on her, and then she does.
But yeah, that's kind of like the whole theme up here. Like characters have a lot of tools. Like we just talked about 2 Cetron moves, and we're not even close to being able to explain how much things she actually has. And then her teleport's really good because it's hard to corner her. She can teleport, she can air teleport, she can teleport away, and then her final custom move that they're using is the Tornado, which is an underrated move. It's super safe, pushes back, can't jump it because it's got a massive vertical hitbox. Literally hits from like the ceiling all the way to the ground, so you're not going to jump over it. And if she enhances it, it goes even further. It goes almost full screen. And it also breaks armor up close. And they love to use it off her strings to make some strings completely safe and push you back. Like they'll do 4-2 into her Tornado. They'll do standing 3, standing 4. They'll just throw it in strings. It'll push you back. And then they'll mix it off other strings doing 4-2-3 rock wall. Because if she does 4-2-3 Tornado, there's a gap there that you're able to false block. But then they'll start mixing it. So Cetron's, again, like Liu Kang, she's always been a good character since day one. She just got better with the customs because now they're creating just the best version of her. Joker's a character, I feel like he's kind of like Fujin, and he's not as popular as Jackie, Liu Kang, and Cetron. Like, you don't see, like, 20 Jokers everywhere like the other characters, but Joker is pretty obnoxious to fight because he's got. I think all of his normals have no hurt boxes, right? Like all of them have the stick or
Pretty much.
Yeah, like
fire
some type
charge
of
or something.
disjoint.
Yeah, it's pretty much all of them have no hurt box. So when you're going punch for punch with him, other characters are kind of vulnerable to getting clipped, but that doesn't apply to Joker. Like when he's doing 4-1, 4-2, standing 2, whatever, all these moves, like he's not worried about you clipping him from max range because he's not using his actual fist. He's using like a weapon. So that's really good for him because it synergizes really well with his the custom loadout that I see Joker's using is they're using his 2-slot one that gives a combo launcher, the gloves.
Mhm.
So off every hit, he's getting a combo now. Every hit, he's doing like 30% into a knockdown. And then they're equipping his Joker move, the one where he like throws up his little doll attack and it comes down. It's like plus.
The
The name of
That's
it.
Down
The
back one.
setup bomb or whatever.
His Jester. That move. It's really good because you get to do. He gets to launch you, and then if you read a breakaway, he can go into a specific ender where he'll end in his jumping Jester. And it'll either hit you during the combo to do damage, or if you break away, you'll fall to the ground. But then his doll is falling from the sky, and then he gets free offense, pretty much Oki. So he's very good on offense and footsies. And he's got probably one of the scariest corner games as well. It's very difficult to get out of his corner game when he has you pinned against the wall.
His footsies
can
are
just
crazy
leave it.
too. Like
Yeah, his
he's
footsies
got
are super good.
the best stand two in the game, and like he doesn't have the best movement, but his initial like dash distance coverage is so good. Like if you try to take your turn back against him, he'll just like backdash stand to you or something.
Yeah, his buttons are great. I would say he's
It's-
like top 5 footsie character. That's how good his buttons are.
Yeah, his initial movement speed is ridiculous on footsies. And
Yeah,
the jack
exactly.
in the
And
box for setting neutral constantly, it's really crazy.
Yeah, and his staggers and mind games on all the stuff he's able to do on blockers is also limitless. It's very hard to deal with because you have to pick and choose your spot to floss block.
Yeah, and I think
And some of the strings, like depending how close you are to him, you can't floss block them. So you have to also keep that in mind.
think
Like
one-
you can kind of choose what he's going for.
I think one important thing to note is I think to use the character at a very high level like Sonic Fox, you have to be able to cancel the fatal blow and hit confirm and or do the throw and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's very important as well.
I think that few people can do that. So
It's not that hard.
I know it's not that hard, but like in the heat of the battle,
Yeah, but it's harder than doing like like another character just doing a string into a fatal.
yeah, like
blow.
it's
Right.
different than just. So I know it's not that hard, but if it's not that hard, why do I only see Sonic Fox really using it? At, at the correct time and being able to cancel it just right. He's really, they're the only ones who are really doing it. So,
Yeah, but Joker's also got a very peculiar play style. Like the way he plays, it's like it's kind of hard to explain. He's like a walling character, if that makes sense. Like he fights you at the specific range and he tries to lock you down in that range where your buttons aren't really quick enough to challenge him, but his are, and his moves go to combos. So he's kind of like almost like a lockdown character, but in a different way.
yeah, it's good to see after the character like has sucked for so many years.
Yeah, I mean he was in top in Injustice 1 or 2, so finally he's a top tier character, which is nice to see.
Justice game.
Yeah, it's not even an Injustice game. But that's one of the reasons why he's top tier, though, because in Injustice, he had a completely different game design and everything. And in this movie, he has his own completely new playstyle. New moveset, new everything.
Yep. What about?
Yeah. Yeah, to close off the top 5, Fujin is like insane mobility. The character can move from any part of the screen really quickly. His footsie game is obnoxious because it hits from like he's got some normals that hit further than Kotal's 4-2. his back 2 move, like it hits further than that.
Yeah.
Move. And you guys know how far Kotal's 4-2 hits. It's like a half screen normal. So he's got normals like that. He's really good at making you want to like not move because he can convert into any normal from any distance, whether it's back 2, whether it's 4-3 slide, or can go into Skywalker because with him they're gonna equip Skywalker. Either his needle move, they're always gonna have his arsenal loadout. So Skywalker and arsenal are the 2 must, and then they switch the 3rd move with either needle, his wind kick armor break, and his what is the move called? The pressure bomb, which is kind of rare. You guys really haven't seen it yet in tournaments, but it's pretty good because you get some setups off it that are actually
Oh, yeah,
not bad.
I know it. Pretty good.
Yeah, Fujin's like he's all mind games. He's all controlling the pace of the match. making you not want to block, then capitalizing on that by coming in, throwing you, abusing his insane ground movement with his dash speeds, converting off any hit into a combo, and then when you block his attacks, he'll go into that and then go into mind games on block, where you have to guess, is he going to cancel Skywalker?
Mhm.
Is he going to try and do something here? Is he going to run a few steps and do his dive kick, crush and blow? It's a lot of things to kind of look out for, and that's what makes him really good. He's also really hard to play, which is why you don't see, a ton of Fujins everywhere.
Yeah, fair enough. So you have the best. These are your top 5 characters. There have been no disagreements so far. What about your outstanding? I guess this would be like the high tiers, if you want to use another word for them.
Yeah, it would go. I guess you could call the best if you want to. You could call those like
Top tier.
top tier, S tier, whatever you want, and then the next tier would be the next set of best characters the game has to offer.
Like an A plus or
Yeah, it would be like a high tier, I guess. Like after the top tier would be high tier, if you want to call it that.
okay. So
So in here,
you're starting with Kano.
yeah, Kano, which is a very surprising one because when you look at this, you're like, well, how's Kano that high? The character's been bottom tier for most of the game's life. Now all of a sudden in one patch, he goes from bottom tier to high tier. How the hell does that happen? It's because some characters with the latest patch have ridiculous custom loadouts. Like with Kano, they're using his alcohol move where he does like the backdash move and he throws alcohol at you. They're using that. That move comes with the meter burn where he throws the Molotov.
You're talking about the acid, right? Is that what you're talking?
Yeah, the acid move. I thought he's throwing alcohol. Is it alcohol or acid?
The
I think it's acid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's acid.
It's acid?
Yeah, it's the acid, but if you meter burn,
Damn, this whole time I thought it was
So
alcohol. Then
alcohol
he lights it on
wouldn't hurt that
fire.
much, like you just throw it at someone.
There's another move,
True.
the alcohol, but that's not worth picking because if you pick the acid, it's an optional select. So if you meter burn it, the alcohol bottle will only come out if the acid hits. So that's what makes it so good in the corner,
Wait. The alcohol? You mean the Molotov? That's a whole different move.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the meter burn to his acid move? Because if you're talking about that, he throws the lighter.
That's
That's
right.
right. Yeah,
yes.
it's the lighter. Yeah, that's what people
Yeah.
are using.
But yeah, the whole loadout that they're using. Sorry, I didn't mean to say alcohol. I meant to say acid. They're using acid, which meter burn comes with the lighter, which leads to his insane corner game with the unblockable loops. So they're using that. They're using command grab for extra mix because you can flawless block down one into his acid, but then you have to watch out for down one command throw or down one cannonball or down one down. Like the whole mind game behind that. And then aside from those two moves, manhandle and his acid attack, for the third move, they're either equipping his cybernetic pull, which gives him better combos, better neutral. It's like a quick laser move. He can meter burn it. Then he gets a full combo. Very easy to set up his corner game. When you hit somebody with that, you can go into a full combo off forward 1-1, for example. So they're using that, or I've seen some Kanos use Vegemite if they're dealing against zoning, because it gives them armor to get in easier. But the most common one I'd say is, I guess, Manhandle, the Cybernetic Pull, and his Acid. Kano's he's like Joker. He's like a straight up corner character. He's all about bullying you, getting you to the corner, and then starting his obnoxious corner game with ridiculous.
Yeah, except he doesn't have.
It's like unblockable loops. It's kind of hard to explain because you have to play against it to really see how it
He doesn't
is.
have like the footsies and the disjointed hitboxes that Joker has access to, but he definitely has the. Obviously, he has the command throw. He has the the lighter, the meter burn acid that he can use to drain your life in the corner. So he's kind of like a unique character in the sense that he can blow you up in a corner very, very quickly. He wants to push you to the corner. And he also has a decent projectile with the knife toss. This is one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, he has one of the best strings too. 4-1-1.
Yeah,
back
that
two.
too.
Yeah,
Have
that
to talk
got
about that
buffed,
string.
and he's
Yeah,
got
you
the
have to
best
talk about
armor
that
break
string.
normal with back one.
Yeah, back one is super good in the corner too because it sets up his acid into corner game. Yeah, Kano's all about the corner pretty much. He's decent mid screen, but in the corner he's a monster. That's why he's so high now than he was before.
All right, how about the others? I think we may need to hurry up a little bit. Otherwise, we're gonna be all
Yeah,
night.
each individual character description's been pretty long.
Yeah, let's
Yeah, okay, so for aside from Kano, we have Gears, which is not a surprise. Gears has always been a strong character.
let's have a if you don't mind.
Yeah, Franco, the floor is all yours with Gears.
Franco, what do you think? Is this a proper placement? Too high? Too low? What are you thinking?
I think he deserves to be in the second highest tier. Since it's not ordered, I think it's a good tier placement for him, just tier wise.
Anything else you want to add?
Do you want me
about-
to explain why? Or...
Yeah, like
sure.
explain like what makes him good. Like his moves. Does he have solid footsies, anti-zoning?
Yeah, he's got good anti-zoning with quicksand. He's still got like a mid command grab. It's on the slower end, so it's like it's not really good for Oki. Like it might not be as good as like collectors or Kotal. Kotal is probably the
Melinas.
best.
Yeah.
But he's got the most tick throws in the game off of the mid command grab. His clone, it's still plus 12, can lead to plus 7 restands and can be another way to get it on zoning as long as you can set it up. And he could deal with aerial zoning now with Sand Pillar since he can equip it with quicksand and clone simultaneously. He still has 421 exploits, unfortunately, which is really annoying. But
You're talking.
He's-
You're referring
he's
to the fact that some characters can low profile the forward 2-1, the second hit with like. For example, Katana can do down 1 and Scarlet can do 2-1. Is that what you're referring to?
yeah,
You
some
mean down 3
characters
first?
Yeah, I'm sorry,
can
down 3.
full
Yes.
combo punish. Like Jackie can backdash 3-3 crushing blow or whatever option she feels like doing. Fujin can down 1, down 3. Cetron can down 3, down 4. I guess Johnny can backdash in between it because Aziz posted a video on it. I didn't know about that one. I thought his got taken away, but so yeah, he's got like decent mids, like 4-3-2. I think 4-3 is probably one of the best mids in the game as far as like just the normal itself, not like the actual string. Like it's got 4 or 5 active frames or something like that. 4, I think. So it's a good anti-air. And it's good for like just plus frames if you media it because you can make it +1 on block. And then he's not too unsafe for the most part, but he doesn't really have plus frames out like in his strings or normals. He's pretty minus and safe for the most part. But overall,
What about
he's like
in terms
a
of
good
loadout?
character.
Like, what are Gears players using with him in terms of loadouts?
My brother, he uses the same thing I use in my loadout. Quicksand, clone, and pillar. But I know Gur is a fan of replacing my pillar with shifting sands. But same
And-
loadout as me.
And just to be again, I'm trying to limit the explanations, but Gur really had some interesting tech with the what is the move called?
Shifting
Franco.
sands?
Yeah, shifting like so the Subzero player, like they tried to slide and he would
Too easy.
yeah, too easy, thank you. Like he would equip that and they couldn't punish his low center. Like it was
Yeah, that's big brain stuff.
Oh,
right
that's
there.
not really tech. That's just how the move works. Like you can't jump out of the move. You have to like. So the easiest way to get out of it, like some strings can actually just ignore it and just kind of you can do a string to get out of it sometimes. It's weird, but
Yeah, but Dave's saying that like you know how like a Subzero plays against Gears, if they block sand trap from mid screen, Subzero gets a slide punish.
yeah.
He's saying that he would have the shifting sands out, do that, and then it would go against the Sub-Zero's brain because they would try to be like, okay, I have to punish with slide, but it doesn't work in that case because the shifting sands doesn't allow him to move.
Yeah.
So
That's
in that
not
case,
really.
it's pretty smart.
My case was like that's not really Gur tech. That's just how the move functions. Like it literally.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying like it's Dave was mentioning how it.
Yeah,
was pretty
yeah,
good in that,
it
in
is
that
good in
circumstance.
some circumstances for sure. It's definitely one of the better vacuum moves compared to previous moves. Like I think it was Donatello that had the shitty vacuum move or whatever that like pretty much didn't work.
the bad vacuum move.
Yeah, I think shifting sands is good too, but it's if you're trying to just go with I think my loadout is just better overall. Honestly, it's more straightforward as well. There are some instances though that shifting sands comes in clutch, but it's more situational. It's like not something you would run into often. Like for example, if you're fighting Noob and he's doing his 4-2-1 string in the shifting sands, you can actually block 4-2 outside. Like if Garrus is standing outside the shifting sands and Noob is in the shifting sands, he's going to make you block 4-2, but his second hit's going to whiff possibly, and you can whiff punish him with temporal advantage if he finishes the string like 4-2-1-2.
See, that's very smart. That requires a lot of matchup knowledge, things like that. That's why I like moves like that because it adds a lot of depth to matchups.
Yeah, I like using it for fun too, and I actually plan on making a video about shifting sands in those instances. I have like 2 or 3 videos that I'm planning to use at some point for a YouTube
And also,
video.
you're kind of the Gears that put that move on the map. What is it? The move where he puts the hourglass and it's like a setup and it strikes the ground like 2 seconds after?
Yeah, the pillar.
Yeah, the pillar. How do you feel about the move in the corner? Do you think it makes Gears way better in the corner, or do you feel like it's a must in some matchups?
I think it's a must for aerial zoning, and in the corner it's just like swaggy mix-ups. You can create tick throws that normally don't exist with it. I wouldn't go for it too often because then it becomes kind of predictable, and you have people that panic and do weird stuff when they're under pressure with the hourglass. So it's definitely something you shouldn't abuse, and like you said, it has to come in with experience in using the character. But I think it's really good to use.
All right.
Yeah, okay, so next we have Subzero, and I think we have someone in this call that would love to talk about Subzero. Tom,
Whether we
floor is
like it
yours.
or not, right? Tom, Subzero.
I think the Gears talk actually killed Tom.
Yeah, he's dead.
I think he actually died from the Gears talk.
Tom doesn't like you.
All right, well, we're gonna wait for Tom to get back. I guess we'll talk about the next character. We'll have Tom talk about Subzero when he gets back. So Shiva is kind of super controversial right now. People are saying that I've been seeing people go Shiva's the best character in the game. Her zoning's too good. Yeah, I think they're kind of confusing how good Foxy's doing right now in the tournament happening with how good the character actually is.
By the way, he's been using her as well.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah,
pretty
but
interesting.
people are being dramatic though.
Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. He hasn't used Shang at all. This top 1 character.
Well, we get to Shang in the moment.
Weird how that works.
Yeah, but regarding Shiva, people are being so dramatic about Shiva. They're like, she's the best right now. She's number 1. She's the ultimate counter to Jackie, Fujin, Cetron, whatever. She's the S tier killer. And they're she needs to get toned down. They're just going on the ham. She's just the number 1 character right now. I feel like she's kind of similar to Kano to me. And that she dramatically got better this version than she was before with customs. She jumped up by a huge amount. And it's mainly due to her getting that one move, the dragon stance, which allows her to do a very good chip. It allows her to do mind games because she could cancel it without needing meter. Gives her better zoning. She could angle the fireball. She could throw them upwards. She could throw them downwards to make them a mid. And when you give a character that move that's that safe, which allows her to chip like that and zone like that and kind of control the air like that, and on top of all that, she has 50-50s too. If you equip her low grab and then her low command grab attack, she becomes a powerhouse up close with her staggers, fast mids, her zoning, her mind games, her dragon stance. So I think it's safe to say she's definitely one of the better characters now. For sure, I think she's high tier. But I don't know if I'd say she's number 1 right now or needs to get nerfed.
That's silly. I mean, it's pretty clear to me. I know, obviously, we're not going to talk much about the tournament, but no one has any idea what's going on. It's too early to know if she's broke or not. We gotta allow that.
And it seems like a lot of people fighing it. They're fighting it for the first time.
Exactly.
What is this?
Yep.
I'm not used to Shiva having this ridiculous neutral and zoning.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's completely throwing them off guard.
Yeah, I don't think people did their research, to say the least. But I kind of figured that Foxy would eventually end up using her because that's kind of the character using the most on a stream. If you
he was a big Shiva player before this patch came out.
That's right.
Before Ultimate, he was using a lot of Shiva in the last version. And she has a good strike throw game. I mean, she has an amazing back throw. It knocks the opponent down right in front of you. You get to go in for another strike throw, play the wake up game. She's got 50-50s. She's got good setups. I mean, she could do the meter burn on the grab attack. And, where she cuts your legs, puts you in a bleed state, and then she go for telestop, you move, you die. She has a lot of ways to close out the round easily. She also has a good armor break, too, for breakaway. She'll launch you and do her lunge grab. I think it's back forward 3, and it'll break armor, and then it's a crushing blow. So you have to be careful every time she hits you. Yeah.
It's. I think that's the kind of the thing with these the S, whatever you want to call it, S tiers, A plus. They all have very good tools overall, which makes them very, very strong. Zoning, mix ups, just can keep pressure. And speaking of that, I would like to comment on the character that I've been using the most because
Yeah, you've been enjoying Kotal the most.
But
this version.
I was gonna surprise Cowboy tonight, but I guess the surprise.
Total? Wow.
That's right. So,
Yeah, I never thought I would see Dave play a character
Weird.
like
I
Kotal,
like
though.
the fact that
That is super weird.
I really
Huh.
have no confidence in zoning in this game, and I will talk about that later, or maybe.
Well, I've heard Kotal's kind of like I don't know, the Martian and Tanya now. What do you think about that? There's a rumor going
there's
around
rumor
that Dave
around.
told me about.
So forward 2-4 like lets me control like the neutral. It's super easy. You know, I usually stick like to the easy space control characters, and he's kind of weird, but forward 2 is literally like a half screen move, and the fact that now meter burn disc jails on block and lets you be at -1, I think it changes everything.
Oh, 4-2-4,
Yeah,
right? The whole string.
Forward 2-4 changes the way the character plays. Because now you can, it's super easy to hit confirm into the axe or the meter burn disc. So, and obviously when you're up close, he has a easiest input for the command grab, just down back 2. That's a threat constantly, does 18% damage, and I just feel like the character is very, very strong. Might even be stronger than this tier list suggests. Also super fun to play, and people usually, and I give most of the credit to Emperor Aztec if you watch his gameplay. He equips the cat as well on the ground, so that's kind of gets you into zoning. So if somebody like, you know, you play like a zoning and Cetron or Shang Tsung, they like to throw, you know, stuff at you. You can react, and even if they block it, you're still safe. You're -7, so it's just like, where's the risk, right? And this is the kind of character I've been looking forward to. And that, you know, for like defensive purposes, you can lane people out with the parry. You parry their projectiles, or you can activate the beam, get some life back. It really suits the way I want to play. Not necessarily perfectly, but I'm loving this character so far, and that's really the way I want to play. And
So tell us his customs. Like, which custom little are you liking the most, or which ones are you seeing the Kotal players use the most?
throw. So with Emperor Aztec, I got it kind of from him. Emperor, you know, to give credit where it's due, he's the one who uses the cat, the straight one, command throw, and the disc. The disc is a requirement, like that. You have to have it. The disc is, the meter burn disc is what makes the meter burn. You know, what jails after forward 2-4. You can't escape it anymore. I'm sorry, you can't follow it anymore.
The Mon games off 4-2-4 are
Except
much
you can
better.
throw like a regular disc in there. People are not gonna, it's still -7. So the character is really, really just fun. Like he's so fun to play. I'm liking it. He can actually he can also play very lame too, by the way. Surprisingly, even though he doesn't really have a traditional fast projectile.
Yeah, and he also has the most health in the game.
Oh
which
yeah,
some people still don't know.
Thank you for mentioning. Like sometimes like they do that fatal blow and you still survive and you come back, and like the character doesn't really have combos, at least not in the variation that I use. But surprising, he does a lot of damage. It's like if you consider like forward 2-4, fatal blow does like 41% or something like that, and
Oh yeah, Kotal gets big chunks from small combos. Like especially when you have damage totems up or you parry something, he gets a damage boost.
Yeah, he gets
Well,
a
whenever you
damage
do his
boost
command
off his
throw-
command throw too.
Yeah, you do a command throw, he gets a damage boost. So he's got a lot of ways to sneak in big chunks of
I
damage.
think for the most part is unbreakable. They can break because the axe is an armor break. If they even try, they're gonna eat 40% out of everything. So this is the character I've been using the most with like my local training partners, and I'm loving the results. And I definitely want to keep moving on. But speaking of moving on, the next character is Shang Tsung,
Yeah, we got the best Shang in this call, so it's best to make Cowboy speak
and
on
we're
it.
gonna let Cowboy speak on it.
Well, what do you want to hear first? My loadout? My thoughts on the position?
Just like your
Pretty much everything.
everything, loads on the
Okay.
position, loadouts, etc.
Well, I'm sure you can guess what I think in terms of position. I don't
Too
really even
high?
have to say that. Yeah, definitely. Just looking at it, let me see the list again. Like, I don't see how, like, in any universe he'd be better than, like, Sindel or Scorpion. I just don't see that being possible. Especially Sindel. Sindel's a perfect example of this. She does what he does, but better. She has access to crushing blows, which he really doesn't. Good fatal blow. Good enough zoning for undead normals. Like, I just don't see how he would be that high, because he's designed as a zoner, and I mean, zoning is not good in this game at all, which is why Robocop's the worst character in the game, or one of them. So, yeah, way too high in terms of position, I think. But in terms of his loadouts, I'm starting to feel, I think, like Sparks and Slide is one of his best. It gives him a little more neutral control and a mix, which he really, really needs. Sparks and Parry is also good. For matches he got outzoned like Robocop and Katana. But yeah, I mean his stuff's really basic in terms of his loadout. Like I think most of his moves are terrible. Like the Soul Well that gives you life is really, really bad. Like Tornado Flame thing is really bad. So it's pretty simple. It's not that different than before. It's just a slight modification, I would say.
So you would argue you could swap Sindel with Shang.
Yeah, like I don't see why she's not just a better version of him.
But when you
like see from Sindel players, I've been hearing that she's not as good as she was before, but they never really explained why.
Okay.
But I've been hearing that Sindel.
Is that true?
Well, I don't think she got directly nerfed at all. I guess it's because other characters got better shine. I guess people kind of like stopped focusing on Sindel.
Black damage, but now they can equip the haircut with the low fireball.
Yeah, which is what they're using. They're all using that move. It's almost like a must.
I'm not buying any of this because it seems like to me now she has the damage and now she kind of has the projectile that she can do to check people. So I don't see what. And she gets to keep her, like a crushing blow, forward 4 up 3 still there. Like she still has, long range footsies. Maybe not necessarily the best ones, but but they're still there. I don't see what the issue is.
Yeah, I don't get it.
She is just so people see she's going to be in the following low, like in the next year below. So
the Extreme is also one of the best neutral / crush and blow moves in the entire game.
And then,
you guys agree with that?
For sure.
Extreme.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely absurd. Like there's just a range where you can't do anything. Which, yeah, again, space control, it's like far better than Shang has in any context. The other one I say is Scorpion. Like, to me, Scorpion's a character that's more on the edge of being like at the very top. Like, he has almost everything. So, I don't understand why he would be like better than Shang.
Anybody else?
I think the only thing that holds Scorpion back is he has as much gaps as Scarlet. But, I mean, if you play Reborn...
that doesn't matter at all, yeah.
He doesn't have a quick mid either. Not that he needs one.
4-3 is pretty good. What's wrong with that?
It's 15 frames, I think.
13?
It's not...
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it's a little bit faster than that.
It's 13, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think 13 is probably correct.
Still pretty good.
It's not really like your ideal mid that you'd want in MK11. Not to say that he needs it again, but I'm just saying that's like one of the flaws you could name.
Is Tom back, by the way? Tom, are you there?
Tom got Uber drinks or whatever.
Tom got too much Jameson, but let's move on. I agree with
no, because I just want him to talk about Subzero since
we will give him the opportunity whenever he returns. But I think I agree with a lot of your arguments, and again, we're trying to like give you guys a lot of details, but at the same time, kind of move along. Otherwise, you don't want to have a 4-hour podcast about tier list. But I agree with a lot of the stuff you're saying. A lot of the weakness that you talk about is what we're going to talk about, like the lowest tiers, like a Katana, like a
like after we're giving a brief thing on the tier list, we're going to talk about what we would change or move around.
Okay, we have.
So for Collector, we should probably let Franco speak because he plays Collector the most out of any of us.
Fair enough. Actually, both of those characters, Franco, you can comment on.
Yeah, Franco. I mean,
Collector,
Spawn and him are both.
Spawn and Collector, you say?
That's right, because they're the next.
Yeah, but first start with him, and then we'll go to Spawn.
First Collector and Spawn, please.
All right. In my opinion, I think Collector could be in the first tier because he has the fastest mid command grab in the game at 10 frames, and it loops into itself. Like you literally command grab and then into command grab again. He has a 10 frame launching mid now with his armor break special being equipable now and just super buffed overall. He's got the best armor break special in the game for a fact. Like there's no other armor break that's really comparable to it. He has 2 launchers in his armor break and his bola if he wanted to do extra damage. No, really the only weakness he has is like mobility is pretty slow. That's really it, honestly. Like he has the stand 4 stagger mind games. He has 4-3 that covers a lot of range. You can't jump at him really, especially with his relic lure is really fast. So like if you try to jump at him in the mid range, he can do back 3 relic lure, which he couldn't really do that consistently before with bola or the chakram because nobody used chakram and the bola was slow. And he can also confirm off forward 1-2 100% of the time now instead of having to convert into down back 3 at like max distance it hits because of Relic Lure. So overall, he's like more consistent. His best loadout, I would say, is definitely Relic Lure and Command Grab.
Yeah, that's the one I've been seeing a lot of them use. He's pretty much like other characters in this tier. He gets to use his better loadouts in the same variation. He does massive damage, and you can't break away from him on top of that. And he has a really good OK game after you get hit by him.
And you can't really roll, like, you have to be afraid to roll against him. Like, usually characters that try to Oki in this game would say, like, they try to Oki both of your get-up options with a full string, and to beat that full string option on Oki, you would roll. But in the case against Collector, you really don't want to roll against him.
You roll, you die against him. He gets
exactly.
Command Grab Launcher. Dude, you know what else? His wake up game is actually scary. I'm talking about when he knocks you down and he's waiting for you to do something, because he can space out so many wake ups and just 4/4 punish them and you die. You get looped back and then you're gonna get comboed.
Yeah, so I think overall he's just his up 2 and up 3 are like some of the best in the game. Like they're like on Shao tier,
they're like,
really good.
Yeah,
almost.
They're like Shao Kahn level.
Like he has the fastest up 3 in the game is 7 frames, and I think his up 2 is 9 frames with like insane hitbox and like the reach. So I really can't name too many bad things about him.
How about Spawn?
I think Spawn, as I said before, after realizing what moves conflict with each other, I think I'm not too certain about what his placement is, honestly. I think he could be in the 3rd tier, because you either got to choose between the restand or the low chain. You can't have both. And you can't have the armor break and the launching charging spawn. So it's just like, do you want consistent damage with the charging spawn but no armor break or counterplay to break away? Or, you choose between those two. And also, do you want more safety with low chain, or do you want to negate wake ups with the restand? It's like you're picking and choosing completely different tools. And it's like the fact that you can only pick 2 out of the 4. It's kind of gives them like loadout syndrome, I like to call it. So, I mean, I would say his best loadout's probably charging spawn and low chain. That's probably my.
He's at hard from what I've seen from DJT, who's been using the character.
Yeah,
I
would take the damage.
Yeah, he's like a footsie character for the most part. Like he's a footsie character who kind of like Joker has disjointed moves, like back 1, 3, 3, 4. Can't really touch them, and if you try to press a button, you're gonna get comboed. He has a very
he's also one of the best footsie characters. Like he out footsies almost everybody, but like 2 or 3 characters.
Yeah, he's got really good projectiles. You can delay using strings. Could have some issues getting in on some characters. Maybe
his ground movement's actually.
I was gonna say maybe his movement
his
is
ground
strong.
movement's really good.
Could have some issues
like
against like the best up close characters. I don't know. Like he kind of seems like very versatile, but he's an interesting one. Almost like a noob with back 1, kind of like the same play style. But, it's very, very interesting.
Did you want to say anything else, Franco, regarding Spawn?
Honestly, I can't think of much else. If you do run charging spawn and low chain, though, you don't really have any good combo enders, unfortunately. You gotta do 2-4 ender to be safe from breakaway and stuff. Because if you end a combo in charging spawn or low chain at the wrong times, you're gonna get punished from breakaway. So you unfortunately have to have ugly combo enders with that loadout. Yeah, I think charging spawn and low chain is definitely the way to go, though. If they block, use low chain. If they get hit, confirm the charging spawn.
All right. Well, the next
and by any chance is Tom back? Because we could close out this tier with Subzero.
No response yet from Tom, but let's keep going. Excuse me. So we have the superb tier. Just to kind of speed things up a little bit, if you guys don't mind. A lot of these characters are just solid to me. That's what I think. Scorpion, Noob, Kung Lao, Sindel, Cage, Cassie, Cabal, and Melina. Re-
Melina's probably the most interesting one in this tier because
I was gonna give you the opportunity to rant about her because I know you really wanted to.
no, there's nothing to rant about. I was just gonna talk about
You
how
know,
good her
well,
tools
to be
are.
honest, though, you've had some disagreements with the Melina community, so I think
Yes, but only difference is I don't hold a personal vendetta regarding opinions over a 2-year-old video game. But yeah, in terms of Melina, I mean, she just has good tools. Like I said, I'm not basing it on how much I like Melina. I'm basing it off what does she have to offer in this game. Well, she has some pretty good tools. She has amazing movement, probably the best backwards movement, even better than Cetron, dare I say. She has a very good strike throw game. Like when she knocks you down, first of all, she's a command throw character. I never thought I would see a game where Melina would be a command throw character, but she's one of the better command throw characters because her command throw is very quick. It's like what, 10 frames? Pretty quick. So with her, you don't really have to use the regular throw. You just, whenever you want to throw somebody, you use her command throw. So you don't have to worry about them teching your throw. You know, you just have to worry about, are they going to do the standard ways to avoid your throw, like ducking or jumping. But she essentially has throws that can't be teched, and they break armor too. And the best thing about her command throw is that it leaves your opponent super close to you, so she gets oaky. So she has command throw loops. So she could literally command throw you, puts her in such a good spot that if you try to wake up, she could easily back up to avoid it, whiff punish you, or she could jump over to catch you, or if you lay there, she could approach you and then do either back 1-2 for an easy confirm into roll combo, and then end in her command throw. And it's just loops. It's non-stop looping. I think her offense is very underrated. I think a lot of people look at her as this zoning character, but in my opinion, I think her offense is actually the best thing about her.
can you talk about the loadout as well? Like which one you prefer at the moment?
Yeah, so the loadout I prefer when I play her is I like to use command throw. I think that's a must on her. I think that's probably her best move overall. I use command throw. I use the enhanced strings, which is very important because when you have her in enhanced strings equipped, you get access to 4-4-3, which is a double mid with good range, massive hitbox. It's very hard to jump over, and it crushes some low attacks, and it gets the combo into her roll. Because if you don't have that equipped, you can't do 4-4-3 into rolls. That doesn't exist. It's just like a knockdown ender. So that's a must in my opinion. You also get another third hit extension, which is 4-4-3, 1+3, which is minus hit on block. Some characters can't full combo. It's good to keep them checking. So basically, when you have these two moves equipped, you have command throw and that equipped. All for 4-4, she has a lot of mind games. She could 4-4 stagger. She could 4-4-3 hit confirm into roll. She could 4-4-3 Psy into enhanced Psy, which leaves her safe. She could 4-4-3 into 1+3, which is very hard to punish on whiff if you whiff the string. She has a lot of options off that string alone with that one move equipped. And then for the third move, I like to have aerial teleport, but it really depends what you want. Like I've seen some people use loci. I've seen some people use her what is it? Her air teleport like I'm using.
Maybe side slide or maybe
Side slide's kind of rare. I guess you could say Foxy's using it, but I don't think it's too common. I think must is having her strings and her command throw, and then for third, I guess you would choose between either air teleport or low side. Those seem to be the two most popular.
And just to be clear, guys, I think that Melina, all of the DLCs which we will get to here, they could even be higher. We really just don't know. I think.
Yeah, if anything, I actually could see Melina moving up to the tier above because she's actually very untapped. I feel.
Yeah. When I played Rio,
in my opinion, I think she could be like one tier lower, but that's just my unusual opinion. A lot of other people think.
Why do you think that is?
She's just for the majority of her the majority of her strings and normals are just unsafe, and I think aside from her movement, like she doesn't really have too much like going her. Oh yeah, and she has a 9-frame mid and a good poke, but they're like her range is so limited. Like if you try to use her far range attacks, they're pretty unsafe and stuff. It's just I don't know. In my opinion, I think she's pretty unsafe, and like I think that's what holds her back a lot. And her teleport isn't really rewarding at all.
That's true. Well, I think that's a common thing. Like honestly,
well, her teleport's actually good. The thing is, a lot of Melina players aren't using her teleport right. I see so many Melina players using
it's
teleport
very low
and
damage.
not meter burning it. No, I see her doing teleport and not meter burning it. They're just doing it regular and then thinking that they get a safe jump after.
Does like 5%. Like who cares? Like if you get
No, but the point is this: you meter burn a teleport, it gives you great Oki like her command throw. It knocks him down right in front of you, and then with her good Oki game, like it's good for her.
Well, I think
whenever I hit people with teleport, I always meter burn for the knockdown. I always do that.
I think the
I'll never do
issue
regular
is
teleport.
that with the command throw, it is a high, and there's some inherent risk when you try to do
Down to crushing blow.
yeah down to crushing blow. So when I was playing Rio, not that our series means anything, but just kind of like assessing the situation, I'm like, I don't really care if he throws me a million times. I'm just gonna wait until my fatal blow, and then I know I can do down 2 into fatal blow into 50%. Even if he hits me, I mean, my
Yeah,
damage.
but you literally can make the same argument for any character that has a high command throw. You can make the same argument for Liu Kang. Why do I care if he throws me? I'll just duck it, crush the
Because
blow,
he has
and kill
better
him.
mids. That's the difference. He has better mids, and he has a low fireball that's fast.
I don't see what's wrong with using Melina's back one too. It's a completely safe mid that goes into full
No,
combo. It's so easy
that's
to hit from.
fine.
What's the issue with that?
But his back 2 ticks into, which is 9 frames, ticks into his command throw. Hers doesn't. And
Yes, but Liu Kang also doesn't have the combos that she does off back one.
that's true.
Which you
But I
have to
think
also factor.
I know, but you on your own tier list that we all agreed upon, you have him a lot higher, and you have him a lot higher.
Yes, but not only because of that, because of Liu King overall as a character, not because of command throw.
I know, but he
specifically.
has better options. That's the point. Like she doesn't have those options. So
Yes, but I don't really think saying, "Oh, Melina's not that good," because if you read her throw, you can punish her. I think that's a very weird argument to make.
no, it's not, because the game is, as you always say, is about reads, and if you make the right read, you can blow her up on that. And with Liu Kang, the fact of you making the read is a lot lower because he's got a 11 frame mid that's save, 9 frame mid that takes into a command throw. He's got the low fireball that's a lot faster than hers and a lot safer at that range that you want to use it in footsies or far away. I do believe that stuff does matter.
Yeah, but you have to keep in mind his forward form back when do not go to full combos like her, because you're kind of making it seem like Liu Kang is literally just like her, but with better tools.
He does have the better tools, which is why the reason he's top 5 and she.
Yes, but I don't really compare him to Melina. I think they're pretty different. And,
It-
like,
it
Liu
was
Kang's
just-
movement and
just an
footsies are kind of different.
It
Than
was
hers.
just an example, though. It's not. I'm not comparing the.
No, I get what you're saying. I just feel like there's a better way to explain why she's lower than saying that she's unsafe because if you whiff a command
What
throw.
would be?
'Cause you can literally apply that to
would be your-
anybody.
Well, you can't, because some people have some characters have mid command throw. Some characters have. Better
Yeah,
damage.
but if you short hop or jump them, they're dead. So it's literally essentially the same read. If you read it, they die. If you read it, you get combo. It's the same thing.
Well, okay.
Like if you're playing against Gears or Kotal, why would you not jump if you think a command throw's coming? If you jump, you get a full combo. Same
Because
thing.
Garrus and Kotal have mid command throws.
I understand that, but that's why I said, why would you not jump it if you think it's coming?
Because
to
if
get a full
you
combo?
jump,
It's the
they
same
get
thing.
blown up for that.
Not if you read them doing a command throw, because then you're gonna be right.
Because if you jump, you can't get more damage from a.
No, I get that, but against Melina, it's the same thing. Okay, you're saying that if you jump Kotal or Gears, you're gonna answer, you're gonna get comboed. Well, with Melina,
No, because when you
if I
jump,
think you're gonna duck the command
Well,
throw, I
here's
can
the
literally
difference.
back one to you and full combo
well,
you
here's the difference.
and put you in the same situation again.
Well, here's the difference, because when you duck a command throw, that's a high. You get a crushing blow down 2 into inescapable damage that can lead up to 40, 45.
Well, with Kotal Khan, I'll just armor break. Not armor break, but I mean I'll just flip out.
No, that's
Since
true.
we're talking character specifics.
But I mean, I'm going by your, by your own and everybody else's explanations. She's lower for a reason, and it's the fact that some of her, just kind of like playing you, and I think you are the best Melina that I've ever played. Because
Dude, I don't even play her though. Like I played her for like 2 minutes.
no,
when I
fair
played her.
enough. But just kind of assessing the risk reward, I really didn't care about the command throw. I'm just literally waiting for my.
Yeah, but that's the reason why it took so much damage from you with back 1-2 into rolls nonstop. That's
But
the whole reason.
again,
That's how you want your opponent as Melina to. You want them to be scared of her command throw, so that way they give you the juicy combos every time. Like for example, when I played you, I got so many back 1-2s into rolls over and over, and that's what I don't know. Maybe made Melina look better if you just took some of the throws. I don't know. But for her, I don't think that's a weakness to her game plan. I think that's good. I think how she's designed, it's good that she wants to make people not block and sit there and duck or jump, because then she can get combos in other areas by literally doing back 1-2, because you can't react to back 1 and her command throw. They're around the same frames. Like you have to just get.
Oh, for sure. Well, again,
So I don't see how that's a weakness to her. I
Again,
think that's
I'm
part of her
open to-
game plan.
I think I agree with Franco. Even with you, I think she could be higher. She could be lower. We will see what happens. I'm open to both opinions. I'm not against either one of them. So guys, again, just to reiterate, we have Scorpion, Noob, Kung Lao, Sindel, Cage, Cassie, Cabal, and Melina in this tier. And then we have in the gray tier, we have...
Anyway, if I can I say a few Melina tips, if it's okay?
No problem at all. Go ahead.
So I have a few Melina tips. One, if you're going to telekick, always meter burn it because it gives you a knockdown. Never do regular telekick. Always meter burn it so you get a knockdown and then you get to do something. Never use back one in footsies. I don't know why they're using back one in footsies. For footsies, you need to use forward 4. You need to use her movement. You need to use forward 1. Back 1 should strictly be used as a mix-up with her command throw. If you're going to be up close to somebody and if they're going to read command throw, that's when you do back 1 too. That's the only time that string should be used. Similar to how Liu Kang. Do you see Liu Kang's using back 1 in footsies? No, they only use back 1 when they're point blank in your face. Because the whole point of that string is for it to be a mid up close that gives you a combo. That's it. Yeah, those are the only tips I have to give. Because there's so many Melina players I see. They're trying to use back 1 from like half screen. They're doing telekick, hitting people, and then trying to dash up, and then they're getting hit. I think there's a lot of mistakes. I think that character isn't being played as good as she can be.
Yeah, I think
I want to add.
Go ahead.
You go first because you're continuing.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think people are maybe trying to play like she used to be playing MK9, MKX, so that like the telekick is only like +1, I think, the regular one. So people are trying to move
yeah,
in
it's +3. It's +3ish.
So people are like, that's not enough at that range where she can get in and force any kind of sensible mix-ups. So I think that's kind of where I think Rio's trying to make the point is, meter burn it and go for mix-up on the ground instead. And you get to switch sides anyway, so. But go ahead, Frank.
And it gives a good knockdown, too.
I think the only character I would move in the third tier is I would move Johnny up 1 tier, but that's the only thing I would really say about that tier, other than Melina topic and all.
I think that's a fair point. I can definitely see that.
Well, if you guys want, after we're done going the rest of the tiers, then we're gonna go.
Let's move on. Let's finish So great. We have Raiden. So this is the tier below: Raiden, Nightwolf, Terminator, Aaron Black, Frost, and Jade. Again, like all solid characters, lacking in some aspects for sure. Like Jade, I tried her using. Leo suggested like you tried to use her a little bit, and like she's so much better because of the Leah's dance. The low, which we saw Infinity putting some work with it, but like she still has like low damage for sure. Doesn't really have big combos, can't really like cash in without a fatal blow, which is a kind of a big deal for her. But can like mix people up for sure. Can do like back 3-4-3. Then can cancel into the Leah's dance +8, and then throw back 1 mix up, whatever, any mid you want, any low. So she's a lot better, but still like has damage issues for sure. Sometimes has like range issues. It's difficult to catch certain characters with like a very good movement, like Cetron range. She kind of struggles. Like they kind of backdash out of everything, and then you kind of struggle. She has excellent anti-zoning, so some matchups like going to be in her favor. But she honestly doesn't have the best zoning herself, I feel, because talking about the low, it's kind of like slow. Sometimes people can jump on, like certain. Maybe not necessarily on reaction, but on anticipation can punish her. But I feel like she could even be up a spot. But for the most part, I think this is kind of like these characters kind of have like a major weakness. And for Jade, I know I speak personally, like she has that those range issues, damage issues. I think those two weaknesses apply to her.
Sometimes her dial-in string gets her killed. Like
exactly. There's that as well. Franco, do you want to briefly comment on Frost? I know you use her as a secondary.
I think she could go. I think she could go up 1 tier probably, and I think Terminator is fine in the tier he's in.
Okay. Cowboy or Tom or Rio, any comment on this tier?
Tom is long dead, I think.
I think the Gearus talk killed him a while back.
He can't have him with command grab or the low sand.
Weird, because he was just here, like right before we started.
Well, anyway, any comments about this tier briefly?
I think Raiden could go up too, but nobody chooses to play him lame. Like you got to play like he's like one of the most boring characters in this game, if not the most boring. And
I feel like all the characters in this tier. Yeah, I feel like all the characters in this tier have to extend to something. They don't have like, oh, just do this here every time, because most characters can't do they can't do anything about it. Like for example, Raiden, you're gonna have to eventually do back 1-2 with him, right? The problem is you're gonna have to get creative because if your opponent reads what you want to do, that's kind of what puts Raiden in the part of getting hurt, because back 1-2 is unsafe. Some characters combo that. Back 1-2 into throw is unsafe. Back 1-2 into Storm Cell will catch people trying to punish, but if they read that, that's also unsafe. Back 1-4, if they read that and false block it, then you get full combo without them having to spend meter. So with Raiden, like all these characters are great. They're all really good. They just feel like they have like a more risk to them than the characters above them. Like they don't have anything that's just, okay, you always do this and you can just do this and get away with it. Like they have to mix it up. They have to kind of switch it up.
Yeah, well said. I think that's the key. Like you kind of have to play maybe.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit more creative with them.
Yeah,
to
maybe
make
like
them
play an extra 2 mind games where with the others you really don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Raiden's definitely the one with the most untapped potential. Like
With
everybody
Storm
else, I
Cell
would
and-
say.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely better this version than he was last version.
Frankly, you're talking about the Storm Cell and with
The
the
teleport. Yeah, because he pretty much just he can just get out of jail free card like Cetron with his teleport, and like it's just like I said, it's just I think the only person I can name that mains him is Patient Impulse, and I haven't played Patient Impulse that much, but I'm not even sure how like Patient Impulse.
Raiden's
really
kind of
plays
weird. I
him.
feel like he's at his best when he doesn't have to do anything, even though that's like the weirdest shit to say. When he has to do something or trying to make a comeback, I feel like he's
like
that's his weakness.
if he can play lame against you, as in he forces you to come to him, like example, like
Exactly,
Baraka
like he
or
has the life lead.
Jax, like they're gonna be annoyed with getting in on him.
Exactly, like he has the life lead and he gets to play his game. But I feel like if he has to come to you or he doesn't have the life lead, that's where he struggles.
That's true. I can see how that's true.
It's kind of similar to Jade.
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
way.
it's kind of like exactly.
Jade is infinitely better when you have to play her game and go to her.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
So
Well,
what
then
next year now?
yeah, well, we have, just to repeat for the audience, we have Great, Raiden, Nightwolf, Terminator, Aaron Black, Frost, and Jade. Then we have for the good. So this is the second lowest tier: Jax, Rain, Sonya, Rambo, Kitana, and Robocop. So just briefly, I don't want to rant too long, but so this tier already like kind of exposes some of the weaknesses of the character significantly. So you have like Kitana has massive massive
Is that Tom snoring? sorry.
Kitana has massive offensive issues. For example, with the throws, no Orki, no crushing blows, nothing really special. All strings leave her minus. She has amazing zoning. I think she probably has the second best or the third best projectile in the game with the low fan. It's an amazing projectile. But the problem is you can't really zone people to death in this game, just the way the game works. And we've even seen this, from this tournament this weekend. Like it just doesn't work. Like you can zone 50, 60, 70% of the matchup properly, and then somebody corners you, and then you eat constant mix-ups, or somebody guesses right 2 or 3 times and they win the round. It just doesn't work. That's kind of the way she works. When they nerfed the razors, she lost all her offense, and what she's kind of stuck with is just like a generic.
Yeah.
Good.
game.
I also just want to say one thing. I can't believe NRS nerfed her razors out of all things that were in this game. Like, how did NRS even think of, we need to nerf Kitana's razors? Like, who would possibly say such a thing? Out of all the other stuff in this game.
To be fair, though, like we put Robocop up a tier because he got buffed in like the patch 2-3 days ago when they allowed.
Yeah, exactly. Before this update, he was actually a tier below.
But like, I'm still, even with that, I'm still like when I try to use it, I'm still struggling. And I mean, if there's one thing I've ever been good at fighting him, it's zoning, but it's still hard. Like the zoning in this game, it's very, very effective in some matchups, and then in some matchups, it's almost like irrelevant. So you will fight, I don't know, Baraka with Robocop. Like, yes, it works, right? I'm zoning Baraka. Then you fight Jade the next matchup, like, wait, what? And then you fight Cowboy Shang Tsung, and it's like, wait, he equipped Shake, and I can't do anything. Like, it's like it's like a night and day difference. But offense always works, and that's why he's up a tier, because you command throw. I mean, you wouldn't think of a Zona having a command throw. I mean, that's the game. That's the way this game works, which is funny. But it makes a giant difference when you can combo somebody and then have like a mini vortex between a mid command throw and basic strike throw mix up, back 2 launches, like that type of stuff. So again, for this good tier, we have Jax, Rain, Sonya, Rambo, Katana, and Robocop. I don't know, Rio, whether please add something about Rain. I know you used the
Well,
character.
okay, so for this tier, these characters aren't bad. I don't want anybody to look at this and be like, oh my god, they're at the bottom. They're just completely useless. Because they're all really good. That's why I named the tier good. So you don't, you're not going to look at them and be like, these characters are awful, never worth using. I feel like all the characters in this tier have some kind of issues, whether it be hitboxes or things that just don't work properly, or they have something where the game just goes against them. Like you do a string, someone will get clipped, you fall, and then it's like, dude, I have to get a combo now. All these characters in this tier have something like that. Like they have either awful hitboxes, which Rain, unfortunately, he's played with hitbox issues. Like his Hydro Boost would be such a better move if it didn't whiff on so many characters and if it would work on everybody in the corner
and
dropping
back
combos
too as well, right?
Yeah, his back too has hitbox issues. I've seen his 4-2 get low profiled by characters.
For sure.
But the characters in this tier, they're good. It's just they're not as polished. Like their strings, the way that they function, they have a little downsides that isn't intentional. It's just how they ended up turning out.
Yeah,
in the
range
game,
Hydro Boost.
Yeah, they all have their own like hitbox issues or things.
And one thing,
I
agree with you. I've really been thinking hard about this. Is a lot of these characters, they don't really have bad tools. It's just they're limited.
Yeah, no, they're good. Like I said, they're good characters. I'm not saying that they're garbage.
Custom system, like either by the slot system, or they can. For example, with Rain, you really want to have the water bubble on the ground, whereas in the air, you really want to have the slice, the dive kick. But you can't really equip that. Or you really want to have the purple rain be one slot, but you can't really have a one slot. But we all know that Jackie's bounce is a much better move than purple rain will ever be. But it's still it's two slots. So that's like the major thing. Like they have the tools, but you're not allowed to equip them the way you.
Yeah, some characters are just better designed than others.
Yeah, the way they designed the game, it just doesn't allow you to use the characters.
Yeah, also the most controversial placing in this tier is definitely Rambo. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, no way Rambo's that low. Because when this ultimate patch came out a month ago, it was all like everybody was like, okay, Rambo's the best. He's so ridiculous. The mine is broken, this is that, the mix-ups, whatever. Rain's pretty damn good, and Melina's the worst, like Melina is awful, this and that. But then a month later, once people start playing the game more, that kind of shifted. Now Melina became the best overall compared to DLC. Rain's good, and Rambo is technically, you may argue that he's the worst out of them. Rambo has some awful hitbox issues. Like, I was playing him for a week. I would hit people with his back 3-3 mid, which is very good, and the second hit would whiff randomly. I would do strings into his low launcher, and like sometimes the move would connect in combo, sometimes it wouldn't. I'm like, what are with all these inconsistencies?
Well, you also,
it's things like that hold the character back.
You also can't do, like, if they jump, like back 3-3 into a snare trap,
but that's my whole point. This tier is like all these characters have these little issues with their strings or moves that just don't align right. In some way, the game kind of screws them over. That's why they're lower. But don't get it twisted. None of them are bad. They're all good characters. Like someone could definitely win a tournament with Rambo or Jax or Rain if they're playing right.
Yeah, Cowboy, I want to give you the final word on this tier. What do you think about like Robocop? I know you use the character as well. What do you think are his strengths and his weaknesses briefly?
Well, he definitely got a lot. That's a pretty significant buff with the grab.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to reevaluate where I think he is overall. But if we're just talking normal RoboCop, yeah, I mean zoning just doesn't cut it, as you know. So yeah, I would say he's definitely on the lower end. But the grab might change things because now having command grab in this game is so significant. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Other games not as big of a deal. Like in MKX, obviously you had 50-50s, but in a game that's strike throw, command grab is super powerful, especially one that you can't duck. So, yeah, that's something to consider for sure. The other ones, I think Jax could be a bit higher. Other than, some lower damage, I think he's really good. Rain, I don't know yet. Sonya, I guess that's fine. Katana, I don't think is very good anymore. So, yeah, I'd agree.
All right. Well, let's close it out with the solid tier. This is like what would be the low tier.
Every game has a bottom tier. This just happens to be this game. I'm going to call them solid because usually when you hear in a game there's a bottom tier or whatever, you automatically assume, okay, these characters are absolutely awful. They can't do anything. You're never going to win around with them. They're just like, they're useless. Like, never ever pick them.
Yeah.
But in this game, these 4 characters in solid, they're actually not bad. Like, if you play a Devora or Baraka or Scarlet or Shao Kahn that knows how to play the game and they're smart, they're actually going to give you a hard time. Like you're going to actually have to stand up straight and play them like they're playing a character, you know?
Well, let me just name the characters so people can see what we have. So we have in the solid tier we have Devora, Baraka, Scarlet, and Kotal Khan. So I think for
Shao
me at
Kahn.
least,
Shao Kahn, not Kotal.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, 4 characters. 4 characters.
Four characters. So this is the solid tier. I wouldn't call him personally solid. I think that's a bit misleading. When I think about solid, I think about like Cabal, Johnny Cage, whatever. But fair enough. I think a lot of these characters have some either issues, like usually offensively, like or offensive issues and safety. Like you think about Devora has a lot of safety issues. Even though Honeybee plays very well with her, like she has a lot of safety issues. Safety issues that the top tier characters never have to deal with, right? Or Scarlet, same thing. She has gaps with offense. Shao Kahn with 4-3-4. There's a gap. It's -12. Like that's what stops these characters from being higher. It's just that they have issues with offense. They can still do damage, but it requires one or two of those extra reads that sometimes at the highest level you can't afford. And for that reason, and Baraka is kind of like he has the offense, he has the damage, but he's like the worst movement in the game. He literally can't move. It's super hard to get in with him. You like play such
probably one of the only characters that actually loses to zone. Enough.
So like it's super hard with him to get in like with Cetron. He will never get in. It's it can be very, very frustrating.
Yeah, but another thing I want to say is I don't really have this last tier here based on like major weaknesses like that. To me, because I like to always do a tier list based on matchups. And unfortunately yet we're not that deep into this game where we have, fully fleshed out matchup charts for every character to, put them. But I feel like theoretically these 4 characters, if there were to be, matchup charts fleshed out, I feel like these 4 characters would have either the most losing 4 6s or a few 3 7s out of any character. So that's why I have them placed the lowest. They're good characters, they're solid, but they probably have overall the most losing matchups in this game. That's why they're on the lowest side.
Yeah, and I think you did a very good job in this here, kind of outlining the way most of the high level players feel and most of the sensible communities feel. But with that said, so again, just to reiterate, so Salah, we have Devora, Baraka, we have Scarlet and Shao Kahn. So if I had to ask just to close out the
Dave, because I know there's something you want to rant. So I just want to get it out.
Before I rant, hold on. I want to ask really, really quick. Give me one character, just to be fair to Rio's topic initially, one character that you disagree with most on this tier list, Franco.
I have 2 comments, but I will go with your question. So to answer your question, I'm definitely saying Shao Kahn, and like if we're just choosing one character, it's definitely Shao Kahn. I think in this case he should have a tier of his own below solid and be in his own tier. But the part I was about to also say is, I think when we get to, in my opinion at least, when I get to Rio's good and solid tier, I think a lot of the characters, I think in my opinion, a lot of the good should be in the great tier, aside from Robocop. And I think Robocop and Shao should have their own tier together, and Devora, Baraka, and Scarlet should be in that 4th or 3rd tier area. Like I posted my tier list in the group chat just so you guys can see like kind of what I'm talking about. But
all right, yeah, fair enough.
But I don't want to like prolong the podcast and discussion even longer with my list. But I just posted my tier list just to compare and like what I was telling my thoughts on the good and solid tier.
Yeah, like we do want to focus like on 1 or 2 characters. Let's go with Cowboy. What do you think? Like, what's one thing? I think I already know. I don't even know why I'm asking, but let me let me ask again.
Yeah, well, he kind of mentioned Sindel and Shang. So
is that your? So you will move Shang a little bit lower? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would move him down to that lower tier. First, I guess what it's called here is superb.
Yeah.
Like I don't. Yeah, what does he do better than her? I really don't understand. Everything she does is better than him.
She doesn't really have the anti-zoning. I mean, I'm sorry, she doesn't really have the anti-zoning that he does though with the shake.
He has more plus frames too, like 1-1-2.
Yeah,
he can't do anything off of his plus frames. There's nothing he gets off of those.
Also, I don't know how true this is, but I heard Sindel struggles really hard against characters that can kind of match her in footsies but are quicker. Like, characters like Joker, that you could just lock her down and she's just too slow to kind of like
Yeah.
be able to challenge it.
I mean, Shang has that same problem though. He gets mauled by Joker in the corner.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like, and her fireball was like it goes. I mean, makes Robocop useless. You know that, Dave. I don't know if you ever played that match.
Oh no! You don't have to. Don't even get me started, brother.
Yeah.
And does Robocop's projectile get low profile by everybody?
Yeah, even I know that as a Robocop player. Like, I think Sindel's one of the worst matchups for Robocop.
I don't think it's like super bad, but like that mid projectile that a Robocop has. I know we always talk about the zoning, but man, that low. I'm sorry, it's not even low. It's a mid fireball. Gets low profile by so many things. It's incredible how fragile the hitbox is. But I'm not going to rant about that for another 20 minutes.
Can Rambo even crawl under it?
He might be able to, but I
didn't test it. Well, speaking of Rambo, that's another character. With Snare Trap, he gets a low profile.
He goes under it with Snare Trap. That's crazy.
So there's a lot of stuff like that in the game that were, if you try to do the low, I'm setting even low. I don't know why I keep saying. But that mid projectile,
just call it crouching shot. Shot.
So it just doesn't work. But
Frost, her dive kick on the way down actually low profiles it too.
Yeah, that's another thing. So the move just has a lot of exploits where the hitbox just doesn't looks like it hits, but it really doesn't. So even though it's a mid, it kind of hits too high, if you will.
Well, to be fair, it's not like this blast of energy like Sindel. It's like this little straight bullet.
True. I mean, to be fair, he should just kneel lower to the ground, so it actually is a low shot.
Next buff, they make him go all the way to the ground like he does the robot and leans back and shoots it.
Yeah, he should do like an Aaron Black shot with the rifle.
I will not rant about Robocop, but I will rant about this real quickly, and then I will give Cowboy.
No, wait, Dave, real quick, before you rant about what you want to rant about, what are characters that you would move around?
Well, to be honest with you guys, you're the audience. Rio and I kind of did this tier list together for the most part. Like, he had the word on the, it's his tier list, and I kind of gave him feedback, and he did this. I like the tier list. I really wouldn't change anything. I told him to move up Robocop because he got buffed. I'm okay with that. My only issue with the tier list is these
Wait, do you mean moving Robocop up to J tier?
No. Like, how we had him like in the Shao Kahn tier, then we moved him up a tier.
Oh yeah, we had him bottom 5.
Yeah. No, okay, move him up because of the last patch. I'm okay with that. My only thing is these names are so fraudulent. Like,
what names? You talking about the tier ranking names?
The best why
do you feel like that?
Because I teach for a living and I think words matter, but if you look at the dictionary, you look at outstanding. Outstanding means the same thing as superb and means the same thing as great. So these names are like completely irrelevant, right? Now understand
like synonymous or whatever.
Yes and no, because
they're synonyms.
This isn't a technical this isn't like Dave, you're arguing for
Leo, words have meanings. Like
Dave, I understand what you're saying, but you know why I'm doing this.
Because
you know why it's like this.
Who think the character's low tier. I don't.
Yes and no. Well, here's the thing. The reason I'm not using, because look, the reason I have these words here is so that you can start it with S, you can start the top tier with A, whatever you want, because the focus isn't really what the tiers are called. It's more about, do you understand how characters are separated? It's more about the whole tiers being different, more instead of them being called what they are, right? So yeah, if you want to call the best S and then A, B, C, D, then yeah, if you want to do that, go ahead.
Let me ask.
But there's pretty much a whole reason I have it named like that. It's because if you call a character
politically correct, so you don't offend people. I don't care about that. I really don't care about that. And here's the point: when I ask,
but also I don't want to tell somebody that Baraka or Scarlet is garbage or low tier, and then they're gonna be like, "Bruh, you said Scarlet was low tier. Why am I watching Scarlet win majors here and that?" Like, because that's not. This list isn't about. It's more about. Look, this game is pretty balanced, way more balanced than games we had in the past. And I feel like wording it like this is better for you just focusing on the tiers instead of, going like, okay, this character is bottom tier trash, D tier, whatever, C tier garbage. It's not, it's more about the focus on the whole tier.
The opinion that words have meanings. And when I think about Solid, I definitely don't think about Shao Kahn. I'm sorry. And I know.
Yes, but to be fair, letters also have meaning, and when they see the letter D, you only assume they suck dick, right? Because they're trash.
D for dick.
So Yeah, if you're gonna look at that, would you not have the same argument? Like, yo, you say he's D tier, how he good? Like, come on, like, can we be serious about that? That's the whole point of this.
I didn't. Well, I made a thread on Test Your Mind and I asked many people on YouTube, and they're like, "Well, S tier, why Jackie? That means she's Cabal." That's not. I know the. Trust me, I know the.
Okay, so you understand the game then. So you understand the whole point of this wording then. So
How
you
about-
you get
I
it.
know, but how about
You get
saying-
it then. If I were to say Jackie, Liu Kang Cetron or S tier, then someone's gonna say, hold up,
I'm not.
MKX Vanilla Quan Chi was S tier. How's Jackie as broken as Quan? That doesn't
I
make
know,
you get what I'm saying?
I know, but I
So the whole point of this wording is to avoid all that irrelevant
At the-
ranking talk. It's more about focus on the characters and where you think
I
that they're
agree.
placed,
But
not
how
what they're
about
called.
being super traditional, and just saying top tier, mid tier, low
Dave,
tier?
I just told you why. Because
Well,
then people
you,
would
you
be like,
could
why are you saying this
you
character's
could
bottom
name
tier?
it those tiers as he's saying, but you can just put a little disclaimer like, "Hey, the low tier is viable in this game."
Why? So
Unlike
we don't-
most.
Yeah, but I
And-
feel like it's more
well, I mean,
simple
this is
to just put
ridiculous.
this
This is
because
ridiculous.
if I put the word bottom tier and then write it's okay though, these characters are still good if you're good at the game, you can beat somebody if you're like I don't want to like explain a whole essay as to why like it's okay.
Well, you don't gotta
I'd rather
explain a
have
whole
the simple
essay.
word.
That's an exaggeration.
Yeah, but
Game
like-
Rio, the game.
Okay, but the whole point is you
community-
guys understand when you look at the list, you understand like okay, this tier is better than that, this tier is lower, so these characters like it's not really about
the game.
oh, what do you
and
mean
players
superb and good?
can speak for themselves when they look at the matches, when they play the game. If the game is truly balanced as you claim, and I believe it is,
It's way more balanced than
Yeah,
any other
absolutely.
Ingress game. That's what I've been saying.
people can see that for themselves. They don't need an explanation. They don't need anybody making them feel good.
But that's my point, Dave. I'd rather have people not complain about is Jackie S because Cabal was S in MK9, or is this character D tier because they're shit because this character was D tier in whatever unbalanced crap game. It's not about that. It's about just focusing on where you think the characters are placed, not about what the tier is called. No one cares what the tier is called. I don't care if it's called S
Well,
tier.
then why have
best,
why have
broke
any
tier.
of these tier? Why do you even label
Because
them?
for me personally, I don't care, but I want the whole picture to be painted in a way where people can focus more on the characters than what the name's called on the tier. That's why.
I mean,
'Cause
like,
if I did it your way, Dave, people will actually say, "How's Lou S tier when pre-patch Alien was S tier when pre-patch Alien was like you know
well,
what I mean?" That's the whole point
you
of it.
can't really compare other games like that, in my opinion.
Yes,
at
but
least,
Franco, people do
because
that. That's why I have it listed like this.
I don't think you can compare other games like that, in my opinion, because that's like, like the S tier in that game.
Franco,
Could
you're
be.
preaching to the choir, man. I understand what you're saying, but there's other people that just they do that automatically. Like they assume okay, S tier means you're talking about Yon Third Strike, like broke, like you know what I mean.
Well, Cabo, let me
That's
get
the whole
your
reason I
word
have
on
it
this,
listed
'cause I
like
know
this.
you've also been arguing about this topic with the
Mhm.
letters and stuff, which to me really doesn't really matter. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think if people are gonna be stupid no matter what, just say with your tier list that low tier in this game is not the same as low tier in other games. If they're not gonna listen, then it's on them. Because you
I
can
know,
be
like,
low tier while still being decent.
I don't get how Dave. I don't get how Dave doesn't understand this because he literally linked me to a thread where he was like, "Oh look, I made a tier list thread on TOM and people aren't even talking about the tier list. They're complaining about why is this S, why is this A, why is this S minus." Like you, so Dave, how do you not understand what I mean? then? If you literally-
Your language is literally the definition.
I
of
don't
that.
understand. Are we arguing language or the actual tier?
Holy crap!
my
Tom's
God.
back. Tom,
okay,
Tom, wait, Tom. Before you say
welcome to
anything,
this
can you tell us about
drunk-ass
Subzero?
fucking Jameson.
Yeah.
It's good.
Do you agree
No, I'm not
with where
drunk.
Subzero's placed?
What happened?
Do you agree with where Subzero's placed? Or we basically want your whole opinion on Subzero.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you
That's
feel
what we
he's
wanted.
good?
You can give
Sub-Zero.
yeah.
Okay, so Sub-Zero is a really strange character. How do I say this? It's hard to discuss tiers in the Mortal Kombat community because we're idiots.
Well said.
That's for any community, though. But go ahead.
No, not this bad.
No, but to be fair, our community's kind of more obsessed with how
What
you
I
call
mean,
things instead of
what
just
I mean
talking
to
about
say
the
is,
characters.
it's hard to describe a character because people don't look at things rationally. They're too emotionally invested, one way or the other. With Sub-Zero, it's like he's a weird character because he does so much damage. He's got good offense. Slide gives him a good degree of defense when it comes to like defending against certain things as well.
And punishing as well.
So he's okay. At the end of the day, You're gonna guess right and win, or you're gonna guess wrong or lose. That's just and look, I understand you guys are salty about Combat League, whatever, and you're gonna say, "Oh, he doesn't need to guess right to win. He doesn't need to look." Guys, I think he's a top character, one of the very best characters in the game. Two things can be true. A character can be one of the best characters in the entire game, but still very reliant on the 50-50. Sub-Zero is one of those characters where, like I said, I think he's one of the best in the entire game. When he's hot, when the Sub-Zero player is hot, he's almost unbeatable. And if the Sub-Zero player is not hot, if he's having a really bad day, it's not going to go very well. But he has the potential to be one of the very best characters in the entire game. So he's kind of in a weird place because of how he relies on the 50-50 aspect. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, Sub-Zero, he's better. It's online. He's so much easier to fight offline." Look, man. I mean, outside of maybe a handful of people in the world, you guys aren't reacting to that forward too. I mean, I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't care where you're playing. And people say,
hold on, let's talk about that real quick, just real briefly. So you think something like Sonic Fox, is it just him? Or I'm sorry, them? Is it just them? Or do you think there are other people in the world, like maybe Ninja Killer or something like?
No, there's no way that they're gonna react to that because look, people in tournament are getting hit by Kano's overhead. They're getting hit by Jackie's overhead. These overheads are like 20 something. They're slower than Sub-Zero's. So if those moves are hitting sometimes, why would Sub-Zero's 4-2 never
Yeah,
hit?
I mean,
obviously work.
Playing devil,
I posted
I'm
that,
not saying that anybody can do it consistently. I'm just saying that
I think people are confusing reading a move coming and anticipating with reacting. They're two different. Like if you think the Sub-Zero's gonna do overhead, then you're probably gonna block it more than not, right?
how
But
fast is
if
it?
you're just playing
19 frames.
it's like 19 frames. Yeah. So it's not like super slow, but there's people getting hit by slower overheads in this game all the time. So why would Sub-Zero's 4-2 never work offline?
Well, Sonic Fox said that apparently he can block it most of the time, but it is a auto shimmy with his throw. So by that definition, wouldn't that make it a mix up on its own?
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely ridiculous.
Right?
Let me put it. I mean, Sub-Zero's 4-2 is 19 frames. I consistently hit Sonic with Shinnok's overhead, which is 18 frames. There's no way.
I mean, and people in MK still say, "Oh wow, that overhead's reactable and it's punishable." Stop.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, remember that Wound? Come on, man, stop. So I think he's very, very good, but like I said, I think Sub-Zero. Ultimately, Sub-Zero is a good example as to one of the things that as many things as Mortal Kombat 11 does well, and it does a lot. It's an example of the simplicity where with very, very minimal effort, you can gain maximum reward. And Sub-Zero is a big example of that. Anytime you have a character like that, they're always going to be very good.
So do you feel like Sub-Zero is one of those characters that has like one custom loadout end all be all, or do you think like some moves can be mixed and matched depending who you're playing
I
against?
feel like
which loadout are you usually using?
I use Rising Ice, but like I said, you could be someone who you can do like Deep Freeze or Rising Ice. Both are very viable. Depends on how you want to play the character or what you're trying to set up, but he's not bound to one loadout per se. Rising Ice or Deep Freeze, I say are two of them. They basically the cornerstones of how you're going to play the character. So you can use either or. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's a solid character. He does a ton of damage, so the risk reward is very, very high. When you're right, the reward is extremely high. More than likely, you have scenarios where, especially when you have them cornered, your scenarios are going to do 50 to 60 when you're right, and when you're wrong, they're going to do about half of that. So your risk reward is in your favor. But he's
So where would you rank Subzero? Like where would you personally would you rank him?
arguably
Mid, upper mid?
you could put him in the top 5, arguably, in my opinion. He's right there. You could maybe put him right up.
right outside the top 5.
Yeah. Or you could maybe interchange one of the top 5 characters with him. He's right there, but he's right in the top 5 or 6.
Yeah, and it seems like the customs helped them a lot. There was actually quite a few Sub-Zeros make an appearance in the tournament happening this weekend, actually, with Conqueror 2 Easy. And the loadout they were using Deep Freeze with Slide and Rising Ice.
Wait a minute. Rising Ice is 2 slots, so that can't be.
I mean, I'm sorry. Deep Freeze with not Rising Ice. I meant Creeping Ice.
Yeah, creeping ice. Yeah, I think
Rising Ice is 1 slot.
Yeah, 2. I think 2. Is it too easy? I think he had the best record. Or I might be
No, it was Conqueror. I think.
I'm sorry, Conqueror. So play like a basic 50-50, anti-zoning kind of game. Very effective, high damage, 50-50, always a threat, throws out over 2.
One thing that has to be said, and this is a subject we're going to have to broach probably on another day.
Okay.
We confuse the most basic tactics for extreme high-level options. We'll take a basic poke backup with punish scenario as extreme footsies. That's like mistaking subtraction for calculus. I mean, it's very basic. Sub-Zero is one of those things where someone's like, yo, the staggers and the poke and the backdash. That's about as complex as a kindergartner writing his name on the first day of school. We take stuff that is very basic and we want to talk about, look at the complexity, look at the whatever. These are just the very basics of fighting games. But I think we're so desperate to look for that second and third layer. The problem really is these are where a lot of people who look for reasons to not play MK11, look for reasons to say, well, instead of me being the problem, I could always say, see, you see that? That's why I don't play MK11. People have been masquerading their reasons for not liking the game or not wanting to play the game for a long time, or blaming the game for their own shortcomings. But two things can be true. I mean, it can be, yes, people are just hating on the game because they want to hate on it. And at the same time, the game, a lot of the very simple things are very, very effective, and Sub-Zero falls into that, where a simple stagger into a backup is just like, oh my God, the staggers. I mean, come on, man. What are we doing? But yeah, I mean, he's very good because he's very good at the basics, and the basics go a long way.
Yeah, he's also one of the hardest characters to anti-zone, actually, which not many people talk about.
Dude, nobody
having a move like deep, having his deep freeze and slide is. If you think about it, there's not many ways to zone Sub-Zero.
There's one thing
eventually get in.
I completely forgot to mention. I think Waz is the only person I see mentioning this as well with Twitter posts. Dude, Sub's jump 1 is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you can't even look profile.
If you're standing, if you are standing and try to anti-air it, that is not flaws blocking. You are not anti-airing that.
Yeah,
there is just no fucking way. It is dumb. I hate that jump 1. Like
the hitbox on his jump 1 is very deep.
Yeah, it is
very close to the ground.
He can do it at such a high arc and still jail you. I'm like, I've had I played K7 show off in Frosty Faustings in February, and he did one of the highest jumps and still was able to jail me. And I'm like, dude, what? Is that jumping just free? I can't anti-air it, so I just gotta hold this pressure.
Yeah, you're standing, yeah.
You either have to flaws block it or literally just hold it. There's no way around it. Literally, there's no counterplay.
Yeah,
at all.
And I read a lot about people say about Sub-Zero about how scrubby he is or how irritating he is to fight. Yeah, I mean, I read all that stuff. True, But I mean, he can't. You don't want him to be how he used to be. You don't want him to be how he is now. I mean, I feel like you kind of put NetherRealm in a barrel where you're basically saying take him out of the game. You know? And I will say this right now. Any person who cries about Subzero now, if you want to go back 10 years and fight how he was, you will say, fuck it, I lied. Give me the overhead. Give me the overhead, please.
I'd rather fight old Subzero. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't as... Honest to God, I remember when Ed Boon was trolling the community, like, hey, man, you want some Injustice 1 with some GGPO? You want the NRS Cup? We hold all the games. You want
That'd
some
be awesome,
MK9
yeah.
on GGPO? He'd be like, oh, man, MK9. If MK9 came out right now, we would tier the characters exactly the same, right? Every character would be tiered the same way, except one.
But what do you mean the same?
Subzero would jump about 20 slots in tier list. And they would like put him somewhere else. Even when Rio did that video where he was like, guys, here's my video about the trap characters in NRS history. Here's Subzero. He's showing all the stuff Subzero could do in 9. And then he shows he's like, now keep in mind this character was bottom 10. And then he shows me playing Subzero, and the comments were like, bottom 10? This character's broken. He's like the best. What are you supposed to do? You're helpless. Like again, if you take my name and replace it for like, if you would have scratched my name off and put Sonic's name, right?
Okay, all right. Let's wrap it up.
No, hold on. In the comments, they would have been like, "Oh my God, this character is so trash. How does by the grace of God he's winning?" But the thing is, like I said, no, it's just how we are in general. That's just how we are in the community. Like there are names where if they win, the character is the worst character in the game, and by the grace of God, they're winning. And there are other players where if they're doing well, the character is broken and they're carried. We hear every day how Sindel and Subzero players keep arguing every day over who's carried more. Sindel or Subzero. I mean, like, it's just how we are, how we do things. And I think the fact that so many people think so many other people are carried by their character speak to the simplicity of Mortal Kombat 11. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I will say this, and this is a topic for another day. Maximilian, and I highly recommend anybody who hasn't heard this, go look at it. He does this point where, look, and I think Mortal Kombat 11 does wear on you, no matter how much they change, it does get old quickly, because even though I do think it's a very, very, very good game. As a developer, if you're looking to sell more copies of the game, making mechanics simpler or easier or taking out certain archetypes, that doesn't sell games. What sells games are cool graphics, 100 characters, 100 stages, cool music, awesome looking supers, much better fatalities. Look, NetherRealm, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but nobody wants to do a fatality. And first your guy has to do 10 different martial arts stances. Then you do your fatality. Then you got to do 5 more martial arts stances. Then you're in post. Nobody wants to watch that. I mean, like, even the fatalities have become like less appealing. Cool fatalities, 1,000 characters, 1 billion stages, cool ass music. Stop saying no to Mick Gordon, please. He's the best composer that any fighting game can have. That's what sells games, but I feel like MK11 again really was very, very simplistic. The fact that we mistake poke and backdash for high level footsies just shows that there's a lack of actual footsies in the game. Not that the game has none or no neutral, but even the most simple example of any neutral is considered like, whoo, did you see that? And he did a down one or a poke and backdashed. The footsies.
I think the best way you put it is simplicity. It takes like It
Well,
takes
let's,
you very far.
with all due respect, let's save that.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask you guys one
That's
more
right.
question.
Let's
Then
go to
we're
one
gonna
more
wrap it up.
question.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah, Dave, would you like to ask us?
absolutely, if I may. We'll save that conversation that Franco and Tom want to talk about another time. Give me one character real quick before we wrap it up. One character that you think is the most underrated on this tier list, or any tier list for that matter, that you have seen, whether it's this tier list or honeybees or dragons or anybody else's, that you think is the most likely to move up. One name, real quick, Franco.
Collector. I would say Kotal, but I'm pretty sure people already know about Kotal. But I think people are downplaying Collector.
Okay, Rio, if you want to maybe do
Okay, I'm gonna say, in my opinion, the most downplayed, underrated character right now that I could definitely see moving up in a few months, I would have to say Melina.
Okay. I knew you.
No, dude. Okay, let me clarify. This is not a shot against anybody.
Ranting.
Okay, this is just my opinion. Because we all have our own opinions. I just feel like Melina could definitely move up in the future.
All right, fair enough. Cowboy?
I mean, based on the tier list here, I don't see why Devore would be so low. I don't get that at all. She has really good footsies, good staggers with that fucking needle, a great jump normal, really good damage. I don't understand why she'd be that low.
Yeah, I was
Except
mentioning
plays
that
good, too.
earlier with Rio's good and solid tier, but yeah, I agree with that for sure.
I don't like. There's no way she's the same tier as Scarlet and Baraka. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, that was my only issue with his tier list was the solid and good tier. Like, I think a lot of those solid tiers should be moved up a tier or two. Good should be like, you know, but it's his list, so that's why I didn't focus too much on it.
All right, Tom? Any character
Um,
from this list that you would move up, you think, or deserves to be moved up?
I'm surprised Kano isn't rated higher.
Okay, he's already
Pretty
outs-
high.
very, very high. Like just
But I'm surprised they don't have him in the top 3 or 5 because you hear so much about him. But overall, I mean, I'm with Brio. I would say Melina. I think at some point, right now, people see Melina right in the very middle. You know, like not super good.
Yeah, and she was also considered the worst DLC out of Rambo and Rain
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah. She's.
I think
considered-
Rain's the best DLC. That's just me.
I do think Melina will move up though.
But yeah, honestly, Kano and Shiva are probably the most complained about right now, though. Mainly Shiva, though. Like,
I mean, she was
people
literally
about
today
it.
though.
yeah. Well,
Yeah. Oh no, people. Well, yeah. I guess you could say that because people like the past 2-3 days.
That
were
is
like,
for
just
definitely
ranting
another
yeah,
about
and
it.
I think
we got to see
I
how
think-
tomorrow turns
yeah.
out.
And also, I just want to give a quick shout out.
Go ahead.
The 4 bottom characters I have on my tier list. There's some players that make these 4 characters, even though I rate them as the 4 worst in the game, make them look ridiculous. Like they will, if you play them, you'll think that maybe they're like high tier or something. So for Devore, Honeybee, Baraka, Biohazard, Scarlet, Twixie, and Shao Kahn, I'm gonna have to say Emperor Outworld. He makes Shao Kahn actually look sick.
And also, if I may add, for Shao Kahn, King and King Jr. both do a very good job of making the character look a lot better than he is. And also, as far as the DLC concerned, I think all of them may move up. That includes Rain, Rambo, and Melina. I think it's fair to say that all of them can move up. I don't think they can move down. They can only go up.
I have a question to hit on Dave's point. Instead of saying which character will move up, out of all these characters, which character do you think is where the player makes the character seem as good or better than they actually are? Where like in the hands of like an average player, there's no way this character would be doing the work they're doing. But because the
Overrated?
player,
Oh, you mean like they would move down once people figured them out?
yeah,
more?
or like the character seems really good, but it's more because of the work that the player put in, and but we just say, oh my god, this character is so good, right? And so like, what characters are being carried by their player as opposed to players being carried by a character? I guess
I don't know. Do we really have any characters like that right now?
kind of
I
the
can't
reverse.
find an answer for that. I would have to think about that.
That's a great
Hard to
question.
say.
There's always
I
a
really
few
haven't
characters
thought
in every.
about that.
There's always like 1 or 2 in every game where.
I mean, I can think of some examples for last version, but not for this version of the game.
Yeah, because the
Like
Right.
last version, I would say Hayate with Aaron when people still thought Aaron was like top.
for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But ever since he dropped them for Fujin, Aaron's kind of
And I
he's
guess-
not talked about as being
I
top
guess
10
you
anymore.
could say like Baraka for Biohazard when you use them.
Yeah, or you could say
Yeah,
Scarlet
Baraka's
for
the character I'm thinking about.
DGT for Baraka as well, like pre-patch as well. Definitely carried by the player more than the character. But DGT has moved on to Spawn, so that's a difficult question because I don't think we have enough data to answer that
That's why
question.
Spawn is not considered higher on most people's tier list.
I'm not convinced that
for
he's
that
higher.
earlier. I don't know if you were there for that earlier.
I think
when
Spawn
was
is super good.
explaining, but I went through Spawn earlier. I don't know if you were where you were at earlier.
Drinking Jameson.
Yeah, my
Were you at the
Tom,
Linquay Palace?
no, my son was like woke up and he wanted me to.
No problem, no problem.
It's daddy's.
Yeah, Spawn is super good though. A lot of people aren't talking about him. He's probably the most. I guess you could argue he's one of the most underrated.
DGT has used them, and I encourage people to watch a lot of matches that that are on YouTube. I really enjoyed them a lot because it's like a basic footsies game with. I think the character kind of plays similar to Noob in the fact that he has a lot of neutral tools that don't have a hurt box, which kind of makes him interesting. But he doesn't have the best like up close game necessarily. He doesn't have the best full screen game. He does have damaging combos, and that's kind of how I kind of see him. So that kind of translates to me at least to like a high mid tier character.
Yeah. Also, since we're gonna close things out, I think we should mention a preview for one of the juicy topics we're gonna have on our next podcast.
Okay, go ahead.
No,
Foxy,
I think I know what this is.
Dave.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm
let
talking
me talk about it.
Do you want to mention it? Because this is gonna be a juicy
So
one. I actually
obviously-
want to listen to this.
All right, so I'm gonna mention it and I'm gonna close it out. So Foxy said that. Well, speaking of the tier list, thank you, Rio. So Foxy thinks that Kitana is actually a high mid tier character. Now, I can blow this up a million ways, and I will save that for you guys next time because Foxy has said in the past some crazy stuff. But obviously, he's in Ukraine right now, participating in the tournament. He's doing extremely well. Obviously, not with Kitana, with another character who's actually good. But that's just my opinion.
Not
Jesus.
Shang. Not Shang.
Not Shang either. But we will try to get Foxy in the next podcast. He said he would be down. He was actually going to join it over the weekend, but he just couldn't get the Wi-Fi to work. So we're going to try to have Foxy and other people, other very, very high level players for you guys that I'm trying to get in contact with, and same thing with Rio. So please stay tuned. And with that said, I want to thank my guests, King Jr., Cowboy, and my co-hosts Rio and Tom Brady for joining this great podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please comment on the tier list. What do you think about this S tier stuff? About the language? Does it matter? Does it not matter? Please comment, and we will.
It doesn't matter.
Spoiler.
people get it.
Spoiler
You can
alert.
call it S A B whatever you
Spoiler
want.
alert. It doesn't matter.
Okay, fair enough. Let the people decide. I think that's the way we should judge it. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening, and we will see you on the next episode of the podcast. See you next time.